Hello, hello, English students from all over the world. Welcome, one and all. Welcome to another class brought to you by the Facebook of Language Learning Online. Of course, I'm talking about verbling.com, where you can connect to English classes that are live and direct to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Incredible. I am lucky enough to be one of the teachers with verbling.com. My name is Geoff Watson, and I'm Canadian. I'm from the Vancouver area, but right now I am talking to you from South America. I live in the country of Chile. And so this hour we are going to be talking about noise pollution, the problem of noise in, well, generally in our cities, but some people need to deal with very high levels of noise at their work, at their jobs. And so we are going to be reviewing and then listening to a BBC podcast. And then I hope that we will have time for everyone who is joining the class to share their ideas and opinions and practice speaking English a little bit. And so, first of all, I would like to ask everyone to please download the document that I have uploaded to the verbling.com site. It's called B1. It's a PDF file, and this is the original transcript from the BBC podcast. And so if people can download this so that it is available on your computer so that you can open up the file and you will be able to read the text clearly, because we are going to be first reading the transcript and then we are going to be listening to the podcast. All right, and so I think that just about covers it. I just want to turn on the screen share here for a second, just to ask everyone, it's very important for all the classes in Verbling that the students please keep their microphones muted, that they keep their microphones turned off. That avoids a lot of the background noise. And you can do this if everyone can use the microphone button that is up in the top right-hand corner of the screen. You're turning on your microphone when you need to speak, and you're turning off your microphone while your classmates are speaking. And great. So I'd like to turn off the screen share and start saying hello to people. And so the question is, where you live, is noise pollution a problem? And are you exposed to noise, or someone you know exposed to noise at their workplace? And so I'd like to say hello to Anthony. Welcome.
Yeah.
Where are you connecting from, Anthony?
I'm from Dominican Republic, from Santo Domingo, exactly.
Okay, and so how is the noise pollution situation where you live?
Where sometimes I live in a neighborhood that is sometimes quiet and sometimes it's really noise.
Okay.
You know, there is sometimes a lot of cars with music, loud music, and that is really noise, but that is sometimes. In general, it is very quiet, my neighborhood.
Okay. And do you, or does anyone you know, is anyone you know exposed to a lot of noise at work?
No, I don't work. I only study.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
And, okay, good. All right, thank you. And so you live in generally a quiet area, so that's
Yeah,
good. All right,
yeah.
I'm just going to put the question in. Well, sorry. See if I can get this. I'll paste the question into the chat box in a minute. I'd like to say hello to Gleason. Are you there, Gleason? So you need to turn. No, he's gone. And so Hamoda, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Where are you connecting from?
From Algeria.
Good. And then, so where you live, is there a problem with noise pollution?
Not really, but it's really how to say that it's not noisy here.
Okay, right. And so, do you know anyone who is exposed to noise at their workplace for their job?
Uh, can you ask another question?
Yes, sure. And so well, I'm going to move on to the next person. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome to the class. No problem. And we'll
Okay.
keep moving on. Isaias, are you there?
Yes, hello, how are you, Geoff?
Great, fine, thank you. Just if you could tell everybody where you are connecting from.
Yes, I am connecting from Mexico, from central
Okay.
Mexico, yes. And
And yeah, how about the noise pollution situation where you live?
where here where I live, we don't have any noise pollution, but we have some water pollution.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
No, but
because
and well,
this
sorry,
is
but you are you're in an area that's quiet?
yes, it is not too quiet, but we have no problem of noise like Mexico City, for example.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Um, it is
And
because it is Costa Rica. It's oil city. We have oil and
yes. Oil production?
oil production. Yes,
Yeah.
and I think that is the reason why the water is not very clear, very
Yeah, clean.
clean. Yeah,
Okay. And do you know anyone who is exposed to a lot of noise at work?
at work. Yes, in my job there is my coworkers from I don't know how to say that in English. Taller?
The workshop?
Yeah, workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they are exposed a lot of noise. Yeah.
They're doing fixing machines and motors. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So they have to wear ear protection.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Excellent. Thank you. Welcome. And I'd
Thank
like
you.
to say hello to Julissa.
Hello, Jeff. Hello, everyone. Well, I live in a, we can say, quiet neighborhood, but from time to time, not always, some weekends we have some parties at home in my neighbor house. This is something common that we have.
Your
But
neighbors.
yes, one of the noise pollution that I don't like is, for example, the sound of the horn of the cars.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
People honking their horns.
honking there. Yeah.
That's what we say. And why are they doing that? Because they're in traffic?
Yeah, sometimes when there is traffic, they start horning. I don't know if that's the word. And sometimes it necessarily, because with that you're
That's
not
right.
going to change anything. But there is a fine that they have to pay if they do this.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Oh, great.
but some
Yeah.
people don't respect that, and they keep making that noise. And well, I think that mostly the people that live near to the main avenues, they probably suffer more of this noise pollution.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one problem that I have where I live. So I hate people honking their horns. To honk is the verb, and the thing that you honk is the horn. So people honking. Yeah. Great. Thank you. And Kaderofe, are you
Hello,
there?
teacher. Hi,
Welcome. Where are you connecting from?
I am from Algeria.
Okay, and so how about where you live? We have two questions. Is there a noise pollution problem where you live? And do you know anyone who is exposed to a lot of noise at work?
I live in Kalem town.
You live in a small town. It's very calm and quiet.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes. Okay.
it is a good town.
Okay, great. And how about people's work? Is there anyone, or have you ever had a job where there was a lot of noise where you were working?
I know nothing.
Okay, so you have, all right, thank you. Good. And I'm going to move on to Lisette. Hello, Lisette. Welcome.
Hi, teacher. I'm from Colombia. In my neighborhood, I don't have any problems about the noise pollution, but the other neighborhoods, I know that in these neighborhoods, um,
Sorry, in the other neighborhoods.
there noise pollution because the discotheques or restaurants or cars. By my neighborhood, no.
Okay, yeah, and so actual discotheques making noise late at night?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's a definite problem. Yeah, living, that's another good question. Do you know anyone who lives next to a business or a stadium that produces a lot of noise? So great, great, thank you.
Okay.
And Lorena, welcome.
Thank you.
Where
Hello,
are you connecting from?
I'm connecting from Colombia.
Okay, good.
And usually my city is very quiet, but sometimes when there is a traffic jam, people usually honk their horns, and
Yeah.
that's very noisy.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe on weekends when there is a lot of parties, it's very
Okay.
noisy too.
Mm-hmm. And it's hard to sleep at night?
Yes, sometimes. Yes.
Okay.
Especially in
And
Christmas.
yeah. And so do you know anyone who lives next to a place that creates a lot of noise, like a nightclub, for example, or a discotheque?
No, actually, no. I don't know anyone who live near to a place like that.
Yeah, okay, right. Because sometimes the stadiums have concerts and yeah, it's loud noise till late at night. Thank
Yeah.
you. And
Okay.
Valentina, welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
So can you tell us where you're connecting from and can you answer our noise questions?
I'm connecting from Chile.
Mm-hmm.
And well, for now, I am in Santiago, in a comuna called La Reina. La Reina is a place very quiet, so there is almost no noise pollution.
Mm-hmm. And how about, do you know anyone who lives in a very noisy location or someone who's done a job where they're exposed to a lot of noise?
Well, in the city where I live in Chile, it's called Valdivia. We have a neighbor, he's a carpenter, and he starts his work like at 9 a.m.
Okay.
until 9 p.m., and it's incredibly noisy.
Okay. Using the tools.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. And so you live in a quiet community.
Well, I don't live here, just I'm visiting a friend.
Okay.
Yeah, and this area is very quiet.
Okay. All right. I understand. So you're visiting Santiago, the capital city,
Yeah,
but you are from Valdivia.
yeah.
Okay. Great. Welcome. And so then let's get started. I think I've had a chance to. Well, no, actually, let me say hello to Katie. Hello, Katie. How are you? Katie, are you there? We can see your video. Katie, Chris? Okay, so you don't seem to be responding, and so let's go back. And so, all right, so, and I'm just looking for comments, because if anybody is watching this broadcast, you are very welcome to respond to the questions or make comments in the Verbling chat box. And so, great. What I would like to do is to bring up the document on the share screen. Now, everyone can download the document prepared by the BBC. This is a PDF file, and so please do that so that you can open the file and read the text clearly. Sometimes the image on the share screen is a little blurry. It's not clear. And Isai has put the direct link to the document in the Verbling chat box. So thank you very much for that. All right, and so the idea for the class is to now where are we here? Is to read the transcript first, ask all our questions and make comments, and then listen to the podcast next. And so, Anthony, could I get you to please begin reading for us?
Yeah. BBC Learning English, 6 Minutes English, 28 March 2013. What is silent golden?
Yeah, so, but just, is silence golden?
I think that I know it is.
Yeah, now this is an expression that we use in English. We say that silence is golden in situations when it is better not to say anything.
Okay, saying nothing is better than saying something.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. And what's happening with this guy here in the picture?
Well, he's I don't know, he's listening to music.
Well, I don't think so. I think he has ear protection on.
Oh, from the noise. Yeah.
Maybe he can't sleep.
Exactly. So he can't sleep. And so he's put on his ear protection.
Maybe his neighbor has a party.
Exactly. Maybe his neighbor is having a party. Exactly. And it's 2 a.m. and he needs to work the next day. Great. And so could you read this, please? And remember, we're reading a transcript of a conversation. Go ahead, please, Anthony.
I cannot see it.
Okay. Now, and again, people can download the document so that they can read directly from the document that's opened up on their computer. But do you see it now?
I can see it now, yeah. Who I am? I am Rob. I'm a Rob or Finn. Well,
sorry, could you just please continue?
Well, hello. I'm Rob, and this is 6 Minutes English. With me today is Finn. Hello, Finn.
Yeah, please continue. We're just reading the entire transcript. This is not a role play.
Okay, hello, Rob. We are talking about noise today, and looking at some of the words and phrases associated with noise and its opposite, peace and quiet. But as always, let's start with a question. A new survey in the UK has identified the 10 jobs where people are most exposed to noise that can cause serious damage to someone's hearing.
Okay, great. Sorry, I'll get you to stop there. Thank you so much. And so phrases with an A-Z sound, phrases, and associated. Associated.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and then so I'm going to move on to the next person. And so we have Hamoda. Could you go ahead and read some more of this text?
Yes, of course. Associated with noise and its opposite, peace and quiet.
Quiet.
But quiet, yes. But as always, let's start with the question. A new survey in United Kingdom has identified the 10 jobs where people are most exposed to noise. Noise that can cause serious damage to someone's hearing. Which one of these three jobs has the most exposure to noise? A. A nightclub worker. B. A classical musician. C. An airport ground staff worker.
Okay, great. I'll get you to stop there. Thank you. And let me help you with musician. Musician. There's actually an SH sound there.
Yes.
Musician. Musician. Great.
Musician.
All right, so what do people think? We have a classical musician. We have the people who work as ground support at an airport. And we have somebody who works in a nightclub or a disco. What do people think? Do we have any answers?
I think C.
Yeah, sorry, Julissa, go ahead.
I think C, the people that work in the airport ground.
Okay, all right, great. And Isais?
I think the nightclub worker.
Yeah, that's what I thought. The music in nightclubs and discos is just amazingly loud. Okay, great. So let's continue. And so, Isaias, could you please continue reading for us?
Sure.
It begins with Finn. I think it's got to be.
Yes. I think it's got to be C, the person who works in the airport. Planes are very noisy, aren't they, Rob? That's true. Very noisy. Okay, we'll find out if you're right at the end of the program. But now let's make some noise, or at least hear some noise. This is a typical
cacophony
of sound you can hear on a busy street in London. A cacophony is a mix of loud sounds. Have a listen.
And then obviously they're going to play an audio of a mixture of sounds from a busy London street. Now, I don't necessarily use the word cacophony of sound. I don't really use that word very often, but there you have it. It's a sort of a mixture of loud noises. Or very loud noises. Okay. All right, great. And just the difference between British and American spelling. This is the original spelling, the original English spelling of the word program. And in the United States, it has been simplified to this. Just so that one of the little differences between American spelling and British spelling. Okay, great. And so thank you. Julissa, could you continue reading for us, please? And I just want to make sure that everyone is welcome, please, to ask questions. If you have any questions or comments, just turn on your microphone and just say, Geoff, I have a comment.
B. So we heard dreads and buses and church bells in there as well, didn't we, Rob? It's a real ding or bad noise, but people in urban areas all around the world have to live all part of city life, but it does mean it can be difficult to hear yourself think. And I think you'll agree the world is becoming noisier. B. It is. So let's hear from Dr. Stephen Dance, who went to discover how bad the noise in London really is. How does he describe the noise for pedestrians?
Okay, great, and I'll get you to stop there. All right, and now I want to make sure that people understand the vocabulary here. Drills are electric tools that make holes, that drill holes. We have buses and church bells, etc. A din is another word that personally I don't use very often, but it's a bad noise or a lot of noise. Okay, talking about people generally living in urban areas in the city. Any questions or comments from people? I really love participation from the students. And I notice that some people are making comments about the level of this class, but if you have a lower level of English, I'm here to help you. So,
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sort of and kind of, it is the same?
Yes. Good.
Okay.
So, sort of and kind of are two very, very similar phrases. That sort of noise, that kind of noise, or that type of noise. There are three options.
Thank you.
Good. Great question. All right. And I just wanted to say pedestrians. Who are pedestrians?
The people in the street?
Yes. People walking. People walking on the street. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Great. And so now I wanted people to talk about this. It's a measurement of sound levels. And so, Katie, are you there? Would you like to participate, Katie? Can just wave if you can hear me, Katie. Are you there? I see that you're in the chat box. Okay, and so I'm going to move on. Lisette, could you read some of the information in this image and make some comments?
Okay. Read?
Yes, from the bottom of the image that I have on the screen, please tell us what they are talking about in this image.
The temperature?
I'm sorry, the image that I have on the screen right now. The bottom is wilderness. It has a picture of mountains.
Okay.
This
But read the document about Dr. Stephen Dance
but do you see?
email.
Well, let's continue then, and I'll go back to this. So please go ahead with Dr. Stephen Dance.
Okay. Dr. Stephen Dance, Southbank University. We are here looking at the London soundscape, and as better there is a fighting game going by just as in talking. That is just allowed at its gold bed on motorway, but we're on side street, so it's quiet defense for the pedestrian. Rob. That's Stephen Dance's experience as typical London soundscape. And soundscape is a middle sound heard in a particular location, and a one on the song was that on a fire engine, which was very low.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to stop there. Thank you, and let me help you with deafening. The pronunciation of deafening.
Deafening.
Great. Okay, good. Thank you. And so, could people describe the idea of what a soundscape is?
A soundscape is a place that has a lot of noise, but is only in one place.
All right, yes. And so it's not necessarily a lot of noise, but I wonder if people, do you understand the word landscape? A landscape? Anybody has heard that?
No.
What is a landscape?
Landscape is a noise about a specific area.
Is what? Sorry?
It's a noise about a specific area.
No, sorry, I put it in the chat box. Landscape.
I think it's like a mountain.
That's mountains, right?
The view of a very natural place.
Yes, okay. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a natural place. Osama, did you have a comment?
Yes, I think landscape is natural view, yes.
Yeah, okay. Now, usually, but I guess a landscape is also used to describe just the view that you see from an area. And so the soundscape is the sounds that you hear from a certain area. So whatever noises and sound that you are surrounded by, that's what the soundscape is. And so, right. Okay.
It is like background?
Yes, good. Background noise. All of the background sounds. Okay, and so what's the problem in London?
Soundscape.
Yes, what's the problem with the soundscape in London?
They can hear the church, the bells of church.
Okay.
Buses.
Right. There's a lot of emergency vehicles like fire engines going by.
Yes.
And the noise literally is deafening. And the problem is they're not on a motorway, which is a British word that I don't really use. I say highway. So they're not on a highway. They're on a side street, which is a small street in a neighborhood. And yet it's still a lot of noise. Okay. And so that's the situation in a busy city, is the soundscape is filled with a lot of really loud noises. All right, great. And so what I'd like to do is to go on to Lorena. Are you there?
Yes.
Great. Could you please read this for us? It begins with Finn.
Okay.
And just if I can ask everyone else to please keep their microphones muted for us. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
He described it as deafening for pedestrians, so extremely loud and possibly causing deafness. But how would we know a fire engine was on its way to an emergency without such a sound?
Okay, good. All right, and I just want to go over the pronunciation of these two words, deafening and deafness. Deafness.
Deafening and deafness.
Please, go ahead.
Deafening and deafness.
Yeah, and the next text, please.
Okay.
It begins with Rob.
It's a good point. Sometimes a loud noise is needed so it can be heard over other noises. And in other situations, we sometimes make more noise to drown out or cover up the sounds we don't want to hear. So we turn our music up to drown out the sound of the washing machine, for example.
Okay, great. And so I just wanted to make sure that people understood this concept that they're talking about here. So what does it mean to drown out or cover up sounds?
It's cover a sound with another sound?
Yeah, okay. And so, but what are you trying to do? What's the purpose of drowning out something or covering up something?
Yeah, I know.
To avoid?
Yes.
I know.
So there's a sound that you're trying to avoid? Yes? And somebody would like to make a comment?
Yeah, to stop something being heard by making a louder noises.
Right, yeah. So, for example, you have the washing machine. What is the washing machine? Does anybody know what we're talking about?
Machine
washing machine is the machine to do the laundry. Is the machine to do the laundry?
Yeah. No, sorry. It's in this case the washing machine does the laundry. This is the machine that cleans your dirty clothes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. No, great. And besides, it's the dishwasher. Is the thing that washes your dishes. All right, great. And so you turn up the music. Good. So let's and some people listen to the music in their earphones, in their headphones, to drown out the music that they hear in the city. And so I'd like to go ahead to Osama. Could you please read beginning with Finn, but of course.
Yes. But of course, if everyone turns up their own music, the noise becomes even greater. So, Rob, what is the solution?
Okay, great. And I'll come back to that later.
Okay. Maybe we should all take a vow of silence. Just like a monk, we make a promise not to talk.
Please continue.
Okay. I think that would be impossible for you, Rob. Anyway, what rich people used to do in history was move out of the city to the relative tranquility of the countryside. But then the silence was deafening.
Okay, and let's stop there. So they're sort of making some jokes and talking about something that's sort of funny. And so, of course, the solution to noise pollution and noise problems would be for everyone to take a vow of silence, which is sort of a religious promise, a religious tradition to not speak. And so a vow is a type of promise. And then this idea of moving out of the city to the relative tranquility, which is the relative quiet of the countryside, the rural area. And then we have an expression in English, the silence was deafening. And that's, well, does anybody know that expression?
No.
During a conversation, if suddenly everyone is silent and does not say anything, it has a really big impact. I'm going to turn off the screen share. So in a situation where you say to someone, will you be able to help me? And they don't say anything, then that maybe is very powerful. It's very upsetting. Their silence was deafening, meaning the fact that they didn't say anything and remained silent was really important, really dramatic. Okay, so that's the idea of when silence is deafening. Okay, so let's continue with the document, and I'll get this coming up here.
So deafening is a really expression.
So, well, deafening is a word that means that sound is so loud that you can't hear anything else, or that literally it will physically damage your hearing.
Yeah, I understand, but it's often used like expression. Right?
Well, deafening is used in expressions.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm not sure that it's used more than any other words, but yeah, I guess the word to be deaf is or deafening. Those words could be used in expressions. Yeah. And so what I'd like to do is to go on to Valentina. Could you please read this for us?
Rob. And when you're in the country, you sometimes tune into the smallest sound, like a bird singing, and that can become just as irritating. But you have to admit those sounds are a lot more calming than the constant noise of the city. Well, you can sometimes hear bird song in the city, but it's the buildings that cause these natural sounds to be drawn out. More?
Yeah, sure. Read the next paragraph, please.
High-rise buildings cause the sound to reflect off or bounce off each other, causing the sound to be amplified, made louder. and buildings made of glass are even more reflective.
Okay, great. And so I'd like to ask if people understand the concept here. So bird song, you can tune into the smallest sounds. So if it's quiet, even the smallest sound can be irritating.
Sorry, but what's the meaning of tune into? Like to find?
Yeah, to focus on. But we often say to tune into something, I'm just going to turn off the screen share, is to listen with a lot of focus or with your concentration. So you're really tuning in on something, focusing your attention or your hearing. It actually comes from tuning a radio station. And so to get the correct station, you're tuning a little bit to the right and a little bit to the left. You're tuning in on it so that you can hear it perfectly. That's the idea. And what are they talking about? Buildings reflecting noise.
The glass reflects the noise much more than the cement.
Yes, okay. And obviously these high-rise buildings, so big buildings, cause a lot of sound to be reflected, or the sound bounces off of the buildings, causing the sound to be amplified. Does anybody experience that? Does anybody have any personal experience with that? Yes?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and can you give us an example?
When you scream on the empty house or something like that,
Oh, yeah, okay.
you get back your sound. You
Yes.
hear your sound get back.
And it's very loud.
Yes.
Yeah, the sound echoes back perfectly, and so it's very loud.
What is mean reflection sound?
To reflect?
The sound.
Yes, this is similar. This is the echo. This is what you're talking about.
Yes.
So the terms here is to reflect or to bounce. Those are two verbs that sometimes in certain contexts they have a similar meaning. Okay, great. And I have that situation here, living in a downtown area. Just anybody, what are these?
Yeah, what is bone sound?
Protection for your ears?
Yes, they're protection for your ears. Good. And so what are these called?
Earplugs.
Earplugs. Good. Great. All right. Thank you. And, yeah, sorry. I'll put it in the chat box. So those are called ear plugs. So some people need to wear those when they're at work.
The man in the picture before has a big earplugs.
Yes. Now, and they refer to those as ear muffs, but I don't think that that's what they're called. I just call those
headphones.
No, they're not headphones. That's a good idea, but those play music. Headphones play music. So maybe I'm going to Google it and see what people say. And so go ahead, please, Anthony. Could you read this?
Yeah. So there is not really a solution to reducing noises in the city. We're just going to have to put on our headphones and listen to our noise. Heavy metal, maybe. That would be good. Wouldn't it, Rob?
Okay. So reducing, there's no solution to reducing the noise. Go ahead, please.
I cannot. Okay. Now, well, listening to the teeny sounds of music coming from your headphone wheels on a train can be really annoying.
Okay, let me stop there. So this is tinny. Tinny is sort of a flat, metallic sound. And whilst you are on a train, can be very annoying. What is he talking about here? Does anybody know? Anyone? And we'll read it again if you want.
What is mintini? What is mintini, teacher? Sorry.
Now we're talking about it's used to describe a kind of noise, and so tinny sound means that it's very flat and kind of a metallic sound, like hitting metal.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, it's a little hard to describe. But what's the problem? So in the city, a lot of people listen to music with their headphones. Okay? And some people listen to heavy metal music, but that doesn't matter. All right. Now, when you're on the train, sometimes you can hear the music coming from someone else's headphones. So if I'm listening to music with my headphones and I'm in the train listening to music, you can hear the music coming from my headphones, and that's very annoying. I find that annoying.
Yes,
that
that's
usually
true.
happens in a bus too.
Yeah, okay. And then some people with speakers on their telephones, on their cell phones, so they're playing music or they're playing video games, and you can hear that noise coming from their speakers or coming from their headphones. So, yeah. And it's not nice to listen to. If you could listen to the music through proper speakers, it might sound good. But you're hearing that tinny sound of the music coming from someone's headphones. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Let's continue so that we've got time to read. And so I'd like to go to Hamauda. Could you please read this next section for us?
Yes. Finn,
So,
Rob. Yes.
please.
Finn, Rob. Maybe you should join a nice abatement group. You should. Where am I?
Yeah.
Because I read on the screenshot.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. No problem.
You should join a nice abatement group. These are groups of people who campaign to control levels of noise. They try to restrict planes flying over residential areas at night. And can you move the?
I have moved it. So just wait. I think you'll see it now.
Okay, I have the document here.
Okay, good. Yeah. It's great if people can read from the document because it's so much clearer.
Where am I?
They try to restrict planes flying over residential areas at night.
Sorry, teacher.
No
I am
problem.
searching for.
And
Yes,
encourage. Yeah.
Night encourage people. They try to restrict planes flying over residential areas and at night, and encourage people not to disturb their neighbors by playing music too loudly.
Loudly.
Yes.
Like clouds in the sky. Cloud, loudly.
Yes.
And
Maybe
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Maybe the big question really is what is noise. Some people may call sound just noise, whereas others may say it's music to their ears, a beautiful sound.
Okay, great. So if something is music to their ears, I don't really agree that the
We can't hear you, sir.
Yep, you're muted.
We cannot hear you, teacher.
Thank you so much. Sorry, that's great. Thank you. And so if something is music to your ears, It's either something that you want to hear, like good news, or maybe even, children playing. To some people that might be annoying, but to other people, children yelling and screaming is music to their ears. They like to hear about it. And just British and American spelling, we have the original British spelling of neighbors, people that live near you, and the simplified American version is there. Okay, and so let's move on. This is a great photograph here of a baby listening to something that they like with their headphones, the big stereo headphones. All right, and let's continue with the reading. And so we've got Isais.
Yes, yes. Well, Finn, some people say that the best noise is no noise at all, or silence is golden. Actually, Rob, when you say silence is golden, it actually means it's often better to say nothing at all than say something stupid. So maybe it's time for us to stop making any more noise and just get out of here.
Okay, good. So it's time to end the podcast. And so we have the question here. So, hello, Jorge, welcome.
Hi.
Hello, Jorge. Where are you connecting from?
From Denver.
I'm sorry, where?
From Denver.
Denver. Ah, yes, great. And so could you read this for us, please?
Not before?
Please.
Okay. Not before I've been giving you the answer to today's question. Earlier, I said a new survey in the UK has identified the 10 jobs where people are most exposed to noise. I asked which of these 3 jobs has the most exposure to noise. And I said, an airport ground staff worker. Was I right? You were absolutely right. The answer is an airport ground staff worker. People who direct jet engines in landing and takeoff and are subjected to 140 decibels of sound in one go.
Okay, great. And we would say 140 decibels of sound. Okay, and so obviously extremely important to cover your ears with earmuffs. Now, I'm not sure that that's the word for those, but ear protection in a job like that. And then just check, Julissa, what I'm going to do is read, do you see the vocabulary words?
Yes.
So I'm going to read the vocabulary word, and could you read the definition, please?
Okay.
Okay. Cacophony.
Noise mix of loud sounds.
Din.
Loud and pleasant noise.
Deafening.
Very loud so nothing else can be heard.
To drown out.
To stop something being heard by making a louder noise.
A vow of silence.
A promise or commitment not to speak for a certain amount of time.
Tranquility.
A state of peace and calm without any noise.
Amplified.
Made louder.
Noise abatement.
Reduction in noise.
Music to my ears.
A pleasant sound or something you want to hear.
And silence is golden.
Saying nothing is better than saying something.
Okay, good. So sometimes you need to warn somebody, silence is golden sometimes. Tranquility, this is the British spelling, and the American simplified spelling is here. Okay, and so let's play the podcast. And so I hope that people have the document so that you can do the activity that I, as a language learner, recommend to all my fellow language students. And that's to have a word-for-word transcript and the audio so that you can both read and listen to the words. And so great. What I'm going to do is disconnect my microphone, and play the podcast with my iPod. So enjoy. Just give me 1 minute to get things working. And if somebody has a comment, go ahead. You can make a comment to the group.
This is 6 Minute English from bbclearningenglish.com.
Hello, I'm Rob, and this is 6 Minute English. With me today is Finn. Hello, Finn.
Hello, Rob.
We're talking about noise today and looking at some of the words and phrases associated with noise and its opposite, peace and quiet. But as always, let's start with a question. A new survey in the UK has identified the 10 jobs where people are most exposed to noise that can cause serious damage to someone's hearing. Which one of these 3 jobs has the most exposure to noise? Is it A, a nightclub worker, B, a classical musician, or C, an airport ground staff worker?
I think it's got to be C, the person who works in the airport. Planes are pretty noisy, aren't they, Rob?
That's true. Very noisy. Okay, well, we'll find out if you're right at the end of the programme. But now let's make some noise, or at least hear some noise. This is a typical cacophony of sound that you can hear on a busy street in London. A cacophony is a mix of loud sounds. Have a listen.
So we heard drills and buses and I think church bells in there as well, didn't we, Rob? It's a real din or a bad noise. But people in urban areas all around the world have to live with that sort of noise all the time.
Yes, but I guess they get used to it, and it's all part of city life. But it does mean it can be difficult to hear yourself think. And I think you'll agree, the world is becoming noisier.
It is. So let's hear from Dr. Stephen Dance, who went to discover how bad the noise in London really is. How does he describe the noise for pedestrians?
We're here looking at London's soundscape, and as ever there's a fire engine going by just as I'm talking. That is just as loud as it would be on a motorway, but we're on a side street, so it's quite deafening for the pedestrian.
That's Stephen Dance experiencing a typical London soundscape. The soundscape is a mix of sounds heard in a particular location. And one of the sounds was that of a fire engine, which was very loud.
It was. He described it as deafening for pedestrians, so extremely loud and possibly causing deafness. But how would we know a fire engine was on its way to an emergency without such a sound?
Yes, a good point. Sometimes a loud noise is needed so it can be heard over other noises. And in other situations, we sometimes make more noise to drown out or cover up the sounds we don't want to hear. So we turn our music up to drown out the sound of the washing machine, for example.
But, of course, if everyone turns up their own music, the noise becomes even greater. So, Rob, what is the solution?
Maybe we should all take a vow of silence. Just like a monk, we make a promise not to talk.
Well, I think that would be impossible for you, Rob. Anyway, what rich people used to do throughout history was to move out of the city to the relative tranquility of the countryside. But then there, the silence was deafening.
And when you're in the country, you sometimes tune into the smallest sounds, like a bird singing, and that can become just as irritating. But you have to admit, those sounds are a lot more calming than the constant noise of city life.
Well, you can sometimes hear birdsong in the city, but it's the buildings that cause these natural sounds to be drowned out.
High-rise buildings cause the sound to reflect off or bounce off each other, causing the sound to be amplified or made louder. And buildings made of glass are even more reflective.
So there's not really a solution to reducing noise in the city. We're just going to have to put on our headphones and listen to our own noise. Heavy metal, maybe. That'd be good, wouldn't it, Rob?
Well, listening to the tinny sound of music coming from your headphones whilst on a train can be really annoying.
Rob, maybe you should join a noise abatement group. Now, these are groups of people who campaign to control levels of noise. They try to restrict planes flying over residential areas at night and encourage people not to disturb their neighbours by playing music too loudly. Maybe the big question really is, what is noise? Now, some people may call a sound just noise, whereas others may say it's music to their ears. A beautiful sound.
Well, Finn, some people say that the best noise is no noise at all, or silence is golden.
Actually, Rob, when you say silence is golden, it actually means it's often better to say nothing at all than say something stupid. So maybe it's time for us to stop making any more noise and just get out of here.
Well, not before I've given you the answer to today's question. Earlier, I said a new survey in the UK has identified the 10 jobs where people are most exposed to noise. I asked you which of these 3 jobs has the most exposure to noise.
And I said C, an airport ground staff worker. Was I right?
You were absolutely right. The answer is an airport ground staff worker. People who direct jet engines in landing and taking off are subjected to 140 decibels of sound in one go. So it's important to cover your ears with earmuffs in a job like that. Okay, that's all we have time for today, but please join us again soon for more 6 minutes. Okay, that's all we have time for today, but please join us again.
Hello, can people hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So let's turn off the screen share. So thank you so much to everyone for your participation. I'm glad that not many of you are suffering with noise pollution like I am. I think Valentina knows what I'm talking about in Santiago. I'm living in a downtown area with big buildings. And so the sound is reflected and amplified. We live near a hospital, so there's constantly ambulances going by, people honking their horn at rush hour, and there's one dog in a building that I can't even see. It's around the corner. But this one dog barks during the day, and the sound reflects right into the apartment here. So it's very frustrating when the weather's beautiful, but you need to close the doors and windows to block the sound. Very frustrating. All right, so thank you. All the best. And please remember, get involved personally with your English classes and your favorite teachers on Verbling. We all have Facebook pages. Contact us and give us ideas, your ideas of the topics and subjects that you would like to learn about and the kinds of lessons that you find most helpful. So thanks, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you. Bye.
Get some good